What a wild weekend it was in the NFL playoffs, and it was tough not to see your Miami Dolphins out there, but still, we got the last laugh on Bills fans, I'll tell you that much. We will talk about how the playoffs went this weekend as well. Did we get confirmation via my ex yesterday that Vic Fangio will be returning to the Miami Dolphins despite what local media has kind of been hinting towards? Also, should the Miami Dolphins trade for Patrick Surtain II? And are the Miami Dolphins, after watching this week, and are they built to be physical enough for the NFL playoffs? Listen, we're going to talk about it all and much more tonight. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new. Let's get into it.
Loses the football. Touchdown! Got it!
You have got to be kidding me.
Jalen Waddle has a Dolphin touchdown.
And he will score!
Deep upfield, down the near side, man open. Touchdown!
The run from Shula, Tagovailoa.
Touchdown!
He's going deep. It's not over the touchdown again.
Beautiful day to be a Dolphin fan. Let's go! What is good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason, and we are back here for another one. Appreciate all y'all coming through this evening, I guess we're at. It's Monday. It's been a while. Haven't spoken to y'all. It feels like in forever, and it's only been 2 days. The first weekend without Miami Dolphins football in quite a while, and it just wasn't the same, man. Just wasn't the same. But I will tell you this much. Patrick Mahomes, let's talk about it. Patrick Mahomes just ran through the AFC East. Let's not talk about just the Dolphins and the Bills. He beat both the best teams that the AFC East had to offer. Now, I know we only scored 7, but if we do some math here, the Kansas City Chiefs outscored the AFC East in back-to-back playoff games by a wide margin. It's not like it was particularly close. Now, I know yesterday was 3 points, and that's because of the Dolphins. But when you do the math, they outscored the AFC East 53-31 over 2 games. And one of those was on the road. I'm sorry, Lamar. I just don't see how you're going to beat Patrick Mahomes right now. Patrick Mahomes is the best player in football. He might be one of the best players we've ever seen already. 6 straight AFC championships. Dude, the year where everyone thought they were down, the year everyone thought they were vulnerable. What happens? They knock us out, and then they take out our boogeyman right after that. I'm just saying. That is, life comes at you fast, I'll tell you that much. I mean, all those Bills fans that were talking all that ish. Well, looks like Josh Allen going to be joining Tua Tagovailoa on the Lynx any minute now. And even Josh Allen, man, he looked, superhuman against them in that first half. And then, missed some big throws late in the game. Obviously, Diggs dropped a big throw. That was a beautiful throw by Allen. But, I see a guy like, Ernest in the chat. And, he was in here talking about how can we talk about his misses? And you look at, Greer's draft history. I mean, Tua just led the league in passing. Austin Jackson just got extended because of how good he was this year, right before that oblique tear basically sidelined him. Raekwon's been he's a competent starter, right? Robert Hunt, he's arguably our most physical and best lineman, especially when it comes to physicality, and he plays at a Pro Bowl level, right? That's in one draft. You know what I mean? Then, you follow that up with Waddle, Holland, and Jalen Phillips as your first three. And now it looks like, Eichenberg's turning into a competent backup, albeit we traded up for it, and that's not good enough. I will agree with that. But he's hit on that stuff, and, you got a guy like Ernest saying, we could have had Lamar or Allen. Dude, let's talk about Lamar Jackson. Remind me what pick Lamar Jackson went at. In the chat, remind me what pick Lamar Jackson went at right now. Dude, you haven't seen Cam Smith play, first of all. And how many picks did we have this year? How many picks? We didn't have a full draft this year. So, again, hit it. And Achane was more explosive than guys taken in the first round. And he hit that in the third. So I ain't trying to hear nothing. All right? 32. Exactly. 32. Do you see where I'm going to go with this? 31 other teams passed on Lamar Jackson. So what? Only Greer's feet get held to the flames? I'll give you a perfect example. We just had a quarterback who led the league in passing yards. We could be the Arizona Cardinals. Would you rather that? Drafting Josh Allen, then turning around and trading him to us, and then drafting Kyler Murray, and where is that franchise right now? They haven't even had 1 year where they looked as good as maybe what, Kingsbury's first year? They looked almost as good as we looked this year? Maybe? Y'all think Allen's and I mean, like, let's have a conversation here. Go look up videos of Buffalo Bills fans when they drafted Josh Allen. And pardon my language here, motherfuckers were booing the Josh Allen pick from their homes. They wanted Josh Rosen. So let's not act like even Bills fans and everything, they wanted Josh Allen out until Stephon Diggs arrived. And he took off. Like, Greer wasn't the only GM that passed on Lamar Jackson. The guy went in the last pick of the first round. 31 other teams passed on the guy. Like, what are we talking about here? Again, you could be the Arizona Cardinals. Shipped off Josh Rosen so you could go take Kyler Murray. What happened? They gave Kyler Murray the bag, and he didn't even have a year like Tua had this year. How many people passed on Tom Brady? The GOAT. Teams passed not once, like 3 or 4 times. See, that's the problem. People use hindsight to evaluate. Right? It's hindsight. That's why they say hindsight is 20/20. So, I mean, like, if we're going to have the conversation, let's be fair about the conversation. Don't stick it to just one person, which is what's being done. Shula, everyone passed on Brock Purdy. Mr. Irrelevant going to the NFC Championship. Got hurt last year in it, but second year in a row. How many teams passed on Brock Purdy? It's funny, you know. So I'm just saying, all right? And how many of those people that passed on Lamar don't have a guy who led the league in passing yards? And up until this year, and Lamar's win against C.J. Stroud, and a very when you break it down, I mean, first of all, everyone who wanted C.J. Stroud over Tua, y'all are real quiet this weekend because Tua in our offense put up more points against the Ravens than they did. But anyways, I digress. I mean, we all knew what was going to happen when the Texans rolled up to Baltimore. The Chiefs had the hard... Buddy, I'm telling you, this is why Baltimore's about to get smacked. I am telling you, Baltimore's about to get smacked. Look at what Patrick Mahomes is making. I'm telling you, man, Baltimore about to get smacked because they had it easy. They had a week off. Then they got Houston Texans, who we all know they don't stack up roster-wise. That defense alone is more talented than the whole Texans offense combined. Let's not lie to ourselves. We all knew what was about to happen, right? And if it wasn't for, and we'll talk about this in a minute, if it wasn't for a big special teams play, it could have been even worse. They only scored 3 offensive points. I'm telling you. Look at what Casey had to beat us in those conditions. Then they had to go on the road to Buffalo and beat them in bad conditions, the wind gusting and such. Ask Tyler Batts about the wind. Buddy, KC is ready for that one. I think KC's more battle tested, and we're only about to be 3 weeks in. It's gonna take, and I will say this: that last drive from Purdy and the 49ers, put them up there. That was a battle testing drive. The Ravens haven't had their feet close to the flames yet, and I'm gonna tell you this: someone told me this last weekend, and they're right. All you got to do with the Ravens, keep it close into the third quarter. If you keep it close into the third quarter, you got a shot. And the Kansas City Chiefs and that defense, they're going to keep it close. You watch. I'm telling you right now, get prepared. San Francisco KC rematch. And KC's winning again. KC's winning again. It's happening. That defense is for real. It's happening. Get ready for it. I'm telling you, it's happening. It's about to go down. Anyone betting against Patrick Mahomes, who's been to 6 straight AFC championships, you're crazy. You're nuts. You're nuts. Watch. Knight says they based it all on a question to Mike the day after the Chiefs lost. It's counterproductive to do what he's been his end goal. Another head. Are you talking about Fangio, I guess? Allen, maybe an Allen. Mahomes is a mutant. Dude, Mahomes is the greatest we've ever seen. Mahomes is the greatest we've ever seen. I'm sorry. Look what he's doing. I'm sorry, man. Mahomes is the greatest I've ever seen. It's not even particularly close when you talk about the package. And I'm praying. I'm on my knees right now praying. Retire, Andy. Retire. And I'll go even further. Andy Reid's a better coach than Bill Belichick. And it's not particularly close as well. I'll go there too. Between what I've seen with Philadelphia and KC, not even close. Anyways, please, Andy, retire. If Andy retires, which is rumbling, because the word rumbling is Travis Kelce's going to retire too this year after this playoff run. Him and his brother are both retiring. If Andy leaves, oh baby, all bets are off. All bets are off. I'm going to tell you, if this man loses Kelce and Andy Reid, all bets are off. Brother, now they got to get it right without that mind in the building. And they got to keep Mahomes happy, who's only had Andy Reid the whole time. The bar is going to be high, baby. And I am hoping, Andy Reid leaves. He might stay on as a GM, which worries me. But I'm hoping he just steps away from football. God help us. And that dynasty starts to collapse. Because I don't think it goes without Andy Reid. That's not to say Mahomes can't win. but you got to find another great mind. You got to keep Mahomes happy. It becomes a much more finickier situation without Andy Reid in the mix. I'm just saying. I am just saying. And I am hoping that he gets unhappy. Brother, listen, I love Tua as much as the next guy, but sorry, bro. Pack your bags. If Patty hits, buddy, trade the whole goddamn roster if Patrick Mahomes hits the open market. And I am hoping, I'm telling you, man, I'm hoping that if we don't get it done in the next couple years and things start to go south in KC, if Andy Reid walks away, buddy, align the goddamn stars. I'm telling you, please. Oh my God. I'm looking because if Andy Reid wins again, what has he got left to do? And then it comes into the situation of, okay, Andy leaves, Travis Kelce leaves. What has Mahomes got left to do there? You better keep him happy. You better. Because listen, I'm going to tell you this. I think they could win, but I don't think I'd be sitting here telling you I think they're going to the Super Bowl with the supporting offensive cats they have around. Like, would Spags leave? Would Steve Spagnuolo leave too? Right? Go after a head coach job? I don't know. I'm telling you, man. And let's be honest. They were about to kick a field goal. Okay, go tie the game and give 2 minutes to Patrick Mahomes to come down the field and get a lead. Good luck to you. They would have lost either way. Even if those clowns hit the field goal, the Bills were losing. You were about to give Patrick Mahomes 2 minutes to drive down the field and score a winning. And you got one of the best kickers in the game in Harrison Butker. Butker's a beast. He's everything I wish Jason Sanders was. Because I'm telling you, boys, we've all watched the QB series, boys and gals. We've all watched the QB series. I'm just saying, Brittany Mahomes sounds like the type, if things don't start going right in the franchise, why are we in this weather anymore? Why are we here? Why would we want to be in this weather? I'm just saying. Now I'm just spitballing here. Because listen, I don't care. Buddy, if I had Josh Allen, if I had Tua Tagovailoa, if I had Joe Burrow, if I had Justin Herbert, I don't give a fuck who you are. You're out the door if Patrick Mahomes becomes available. It's gone. Come to Miami, baby. You're built perfectly for here, Patty. Come on down. Now, I'm just speaking pipe dreams right now. Literally. Patrick Mahomes, I would trade the whole fucking roster for. And build. And I'd build around that. 110%. Knight says it took Peyton 6 years to win a playoff game. This team's going to learn how to win in this situation, from coaching to play calling to players. I've said this. I've literally told people that there's levels to this shit. Joe Burrow hasn't even learned to win the Super Bowl yet. He's gotten to that level, but he hasn't learned to win at that level yet. There's levels to this. You got to learn to win in the regular season. You got to learn to win in the wild card. You got to learn to win in the divisional. You got to learn to win in the AFC Championship. And you got to learn to win in the Super Bowl. And the reason why there's levels to this is because regular season, wild card, divisional, AFC Championship, Super Bowl, it just keeps leveling up. The pressure just keeps cooking. The pressure, the moments get bigger. The pressure gets larger. The spotlight gets brighter. I mean, there's levels to this. People think it just happens overnight. Listen, I've already gone over this. It took Drew Brees, 5 years to win his first playoff game? Remember, Brees had the number 3 offense he had the number 3 and number 5 offense 2 years. Two out of his last 4 years in San Diego, and they didn't win a playoff game with it. I'm just saying. And everyone wants to comp him to Drew Brees, right? I mean, I'm just saying. He had the number 3 offense. He had the number 5 offense. He didn't even win a playoff game. People forget how long it took Peyton to win, right? Peyton also had to get through Brady. What you're seeing right now is Allen and Mahomes, it's the Manning and Brady effect all over again. Listen, as much as, people like Omar want to call Josh Allen our daddy, Patty Mahomes is the Buffalo Bills daddy. There ain't no things. He might be the whole AFC daddy. He's unbelievable. The guy's unbelievable. He's the greatest I've ever seen. I'm saying it. I'm sorry. Patty Mahomes is a great. When you talk about full package, he's the greatest I've ever seen. It's unbelievable. This guy is a freaking Madden player. Only in Madden do you go to if you're drafted to an AFC team or an NFC, do you go to the AFC or NFC championship 6 years in a row? That's like Madden, bro. Like, that's real. This man, and it's not even, guys, it's not even inconceivable to think that this guy could go there, barring injury, knock on wood, because the NFL is much worse without Patty in it. Barring injury, this man could go to 10 straight AFC championships if Andy Reid says, yeah, I'll coach for 4 more years. That's actually not a crazy take. Think about that for a second. That's nuts. That's ridiculous. Brady couldn't do that. I'm sorry. Listen. Brady's last year in New England, right? People forget. They had a historic defense for the first 8-9 games, right? Historic. Go look at the numbers. Historic, right? Then the defense came down to earth, and what happened? Brady could only make so much work with all the crap they had put around him. And what did I used to say back then? Remember, Tua had the same crap. And I said, you got Tua over here, you got to work with it because he's on his rookie deal. You got Brady over there getting the same type of offensive support and says, screw this, I'm out after winning 5 championships here. Peace. You ain't going to support me? Well, you got Patty Mahomes right now. This defense is playing at a high level right now. All right, I don't want to say historic, but they're playing at a high level. But look, this guy's turned Rashee Rice into a household name. Isaiah Pacheco's found a different level. Travis Kelce ain't what he used to be, but he still gets what he gets out of him. The guy's throwing to guys like Justin Watson. Who? Like Valdez-Scantling. You know? Like, I'm just saying. He's unbelievable. I'm sorry. I've never gone on a Mahomes rant before. But my God. You just got to give the guy his flowers. He's the best I've ever seen. It's unbelievable. Speaking of special teams earlier, who watches special teams this weekend? And like the Texans game, that return puts them right back into it. And then we had the Ravens kickoff return against us in week 17 that basically broke our back. Then we had the Bills punt return, right, to give them momentum and tilt the field in their favor against us the following week. I mean, look at, you had that, I know there was a fumble and it was recovered, but look at even the big return by Nixon in the Green Bay game. Look at the special teams contributions from these playoff teams going back to our last 2 games of the season that all these teams are getting, and we're ranked 31st. How does Danny Crossman have a job? Someone explain it. I've been saying this for 2 years now. This isn't a new thing from Reason. I see people on X like to pick up my narratives and run with them. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, I mentioned Danny Crossman. Everyone on X, fire Danny Crossman while I said it during the playoff weekend. I've been saying this for 2 years. I've been saying this as soon as McDaniel got here. I was shocked that Boyer and Crossman both survived. Then I found out why. Because they were the ones throwing Flores under the bus. Right? I've always told you, when you do the research and when you ask the right people, you'll find out that the reason why Boyer and Crossman stuck around for the first year of McDaniel, who wanted Fangio right out of the gate, was because Garfinkel and Ross, they were the, Danny Crossman and Boyer, if we're going to use wrestling terms, turned on Flores. And basically, it became 2 against 1. They won out, blah, 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 blah. Right? A little bit of a mutiny, if you will. And they survived. And off good faith, they got another year. How has Crossman... And I know what Crossman's excuse was last year. Remember, we saw it. This was no insider info. It was all over. Right? It was... Oh, well, we had so many injuries on the defense that they were plucking from my special teams, and that's why it suffered. Bullshit. Okay? Get this man out. Stop right now. Get this man out. We got to talk about this because it's funny. Because I know everyone wants to make a big deal about, our salary cap, right? Well, have anyone looked at the Buffalo Bills? I mean, Gabe Davis, Micah Hyde, Leonard Floyd, Tyrell Dodson, Dane Jackson, Epinesa, Daquan Jones, Tyler Rapp, Jordan Phillips, Poona Ford, Linval Johnson, Shaq Lawson, Trent Sherfield, David Edwards, Latavius Murray, Damian Harris. They've got all these free agents. And the Bills are $43 million over the cap. Yes, you heard me right. The Bills are in the exact same cap hell that the Miami Dolphins are in. They're about $43 million over the cap next year. So, listen, is it hunky-dory for the Miami Dolphins? No. But it ain't hunky-dory for the Buffalo Bills either. And here's the thing. Guys, no matter whether you're out in the first round or you're out in the second round, both franchises haven't put all this money into it, and they haven't even, neither franchise has come out with an AFC championship. The Patrick Mahomes effect. Because I'm going to tell you this right now. Don't matter if you got Josh Allen. You ain't beating Patty right now. That's the reality of the situation. Don't matter if you're Tua. Don't matter if you're Josh Allen. You lost. And they got weapons in Buffalo. They become a power run game under power run team under Joe Brady. James Cook found a new level. Stephon Diggs, he's regressed. But I mean, we all know how good he can be. We all know what he has been up until this year. Gabe Davis has been very good. They drafted well. Dalton Kincaid ended up being a little bit better than I thought. There's still no Sam Laporta, though. But it's not like they don't have weapons and they ain't winning. Crazy. End of the day, you're getting the same result. End of the day, you're getting the same result. They have a much better check this out. I'll tell you why they went further than us. Do you know only 4% of their offensive line snaps this year were taken by backups? The Miami Dolphins had over 47. They had about 48, 49% of their offensive snaps on the offensive line were taken by backups. The number 2 team behind that was about 26%. The Dolphins had more than 22% of their offensive line snaps more than any other team in the NFL. No team in the playoffs had more than 16% of their offensive line reps this season taken by backups. We were 31% higher than that, 32% higher than that. That's like a third. Just saying. That's why we were scheming to get the ball out in 2 seconds. Butch Barry and those guys, they did a great job. But scheming around these backup guys, it ended up hurting us. That's why you saw Martin always complaining every time he did Do It Tuesday about a lot of 2-route concepts. Right? We would run a lot of plays with only 2 routes on 2 concepts on there. Why? Because you got to get the ball out. And Jay Rose, listen. I agree with you and I don't agree with you. We just don't commit to it. Jeff Wilson could. Listen, Achane might be small, but he's damn good between the tackles. He's damn good. And let's kill this narrative because I see idiots who don't know ball going around talking about this. Skylar Thompson did not do better in the playoffs last year. Might I remind you of his stat line in that playoff game? All right. Skylar Thompson did not do better in the playoffs. 18 of 45 for 220 yards, averaging 4.9 yards per attempt, 1 touchdown and 2 picks, sacked 4 times. He had a 40% completion percentage. That is not better than anyone. 40% completion percentage? In what world is that a good game? 18 of 45, 40% completion percentage, 220 yards, 4.9 yards per attempt, 1 touchdown, 2 picks, a 44.7 passer rating, and a 23.3 QBR. Who's lying to you and whose Kool-Aid are you drinking? Who? To average more yards per attempt, had less turnovers, had a better completion percentage, had a better passer rating, and took less sacks. Whose Kool-Aid are you drinking? Listen, Tua needs to be much better in big games. 2 for 6 this year, not good enough. Only winning the opening day game against the Chargers and the Dallas Cowboys game, not good enough. 110%. That's why he hasn't earned an extension to reset the market. That's why he has not earned the right to reset the market. But to sit here and say Skylar Thompson was better, you're nuts. Tell me you don't know football without telling me you don't know football. All right? It's the same thing like I just posted. Go check my latest short on Brian Baldinger, who absolutely destroys anyone saying Tua is a one-read quarterback. Absolutely destroys anyone who says that. Go check it out. Tua's getting more than $30 million, bro. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. He's better than Daniel Jones. That's just a fact. He's going to get more than Daniel Jones. It's just not happening. He's not getting less than Daniel Jones. Stop. I don't know what fantasy world everyone's living in here, but he's just not. So, that's just the reality of the situation. Kurt Warner, listen, see, this is it. Kurt Warner did not call Tua a one-read quarterback. Tua Tagovailoa, Kurt Warner said that it's because of concepts. He actually ripped on Mike McDaniel. So, no, Kurt Warner did not say otherwise. In fact, if you go read Kurt Warner's tweets, you will find a tweet where he says that not many players can do what Tua does in this offense. And what he's asked to do. So that is incorrect. And again, you've been lied to. And you've only been fed little pieces. You haven't been fed everything. So no, that is not true. Again, people need to use their ears and actually listen to Kurt Warner. Kurt Warner was ripping the hell out of McDaniel. That's literally a fact. So I don't know what you people were watching or listening to. All right? That's it. And Tannehill and Tua are not the same quarterback because Tannehill's never led the league in passing. And Tua right now in year 4 is way farther ahead of where he is. It's not even close. Right? Even look at Kurt Warner. I think they have to reconfigure their pass concepts, continue to build around what they do well, but I feel the structure can be set up better to make it easier to work through progressions that make sense when number one isn't there. That's on McDaniel. That's not Tua. That's an exact quote from Kurt Warner. Literally exact quote from Kurt Warner. But people don't want to talk about that stuff, right? They want to leave that part out. That's where the issue lies in. People want to leave that part out. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Look, I'll bring it out right here for you. Let me bring it up right here for you. All right, here you go. Let's bring it up right here for you guys so you can see it. From Kurt Warner's own mouth. So I don't have to hear this stuff. All right? Because I ain't trying to hear this. All right? Check this one out. From Kurt Warner's own mouth. Tua anticipates better than anyone and is extremely accurate with the football. Throws an extremely catchable ball and gets it out very quickly. Few people in the league would thrive doing what they asked Tua to do in Miami. Directly from Kurt Warner. So don't come in my chat and start spreading lies. All right? Don't come on my chat and start spreading lies. Thank you very much. All right? Sayonara to you. Let's get into it, though, because we got a bunch to talk about. First things first. Should the Miami Dolphins pursue Patrick Surtain II with X coming off the books? I think this is a legitimate conversation to have. Remember back in September, if we take you all the way back to September, remember, Pat Surtain I was not happy, right? Right? September 24th, toiling in the soil, shaking my head. Number 2, you deserve better. I'm just saying, listen, we've worked out a deal with them for Bradley Chubb. We've made a blockbuster with them before. And I think there's 2 players you should be targeting that you see if you can pry away. Listen, joint to joint. You got a point here, but I'm going to say this. Joint to joint says depends on the cost. For multiple firsts, I say no. I will give up our 21st pick and Cam Smith and another pick for Pat Surtain II. Are you going to get a better player at 21 than Pat Surtain? Unless the board falls favorably your way, are you going to get a better, what if you want to, Deshaun Elliott's leaving. What if you want to get Cam Kitchens? He might be gone. Are you going to get a better player than Pat Surtain at 21? That's what you got to ask yourself. And I think the chances are slim. Because if you can pair Ramsey with Surtain and Holland, I'm just saying, that's all of a sudden hit the ground running, baby. Hit the ground running. Now, last we heard about the trade deadline, he's untouchable. But I know the Dolphins for a fact have checked in on the availability of Patrick Surtain in the last 16 months. Right? The other player who I think you should talk to them about, again, I'm not giving him a first. I don't know if I'm even giving you a second. Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy as a wide receiver 3. Now, the problem is, you've got that 5th-year option, which is going to be money. I don't know about paying Jeudy any kind of money like that. He hasn't proven to be, he hasn't proven to earn a big paycheck here. But as a number 3, settling in that role behind Waddle and Tyreek, if you could get him on the cheap, Jerry Jeudy is a name I would entertain. He could be our slot. That could be our 3rd guy. You just roll the slot, baby. Now, I'm because listen, you're gonna have a way to fit. That's why Greer. Listen, here's what you do: you either draft and supplement through the draft, or you trade draft picks and keep pushing money down the line. And Greer even said he's open to moving that. I'm looking at the Fangio defense is predicated off your edge rushers, your second level, and your secondary. That's why I never thought Wilkins was going to get paid. Hearing Christian Wilkins wants Quinnen Williams money and not a dime less. Sorry, brother, you're not getting it here. I hate to be the one to tell you that. And guys, again, what are we doing? Think about this one, guys. Ramsey is 29, ladies and gentlemen. So this is actually looking out for the future as much as it's looking out for us right now. Remember, what? He only has I think... This is Ramsey's last year of guaranteed money, people. Ramsey's off the books in 2026. He has 0 dead cap. You save $3.5 million if you cut him. He's got void. The 2026 and 2027 are voidable years for Jalen Ramsey. So I'm thinking, so we don't. I'm just saying here. This is thinking about down the line a little here too. And Flores was not right about Tua because, like other people in the league, he said you couldn't win with Tua, and yet Tua has a 65% winning percentage under both McDaniel and Flores. And he also made everyone believe that Tua couldn't lead the league in passing, and he did. So Flores was not right about Tua. That's why Flores doesn't have a head coaching job. And his defense just got shredded in Minnesota. So I'm just thinking, Patrick Surtain, guys, this year coming up is the last guaranteed year with guaranteed money for Jalen Ramsey. He's either going to want a new deal or you're going to have to find a replacement. Just saying. Patrick Surtain is thinking about down the line. Now, Jeudy is another one you can... Listen, if you're going to talk to him about something, we need a wide receiver 3. I mean, River Craycraft, Braxton Berrios, this crew just ain't cutting it. We had no one step up. So, I'm just saying. And you've got a history with them. Listen. If I had my pick, buddy, all my resources, I wouldn't do a goddamn thing until I have my O-line set. I really wouldn't. But let's think outside the box here for a second. Patrick Surtain and Jalen Ramsey could be arguably the best corner pairing this league's ever seen. Real talk. With Javon Holland back there? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Come on. You could do some special things in a division. We gotta beat Josh Allen. We gotta beat Patrick Mahomes. We gotta beat guys who throw the ball. Load up on the secondary, baby. Load them up. Load them up. Not Xavien Howard hitting 30, running around with either a bad hammy or a bad groin, something new every week. He's looked like he's lost a step. I'm just saying, all of a sudden, just saying. Because we've looked into him, and there was a lot of talk last year that he's unhappy. So, let's see what they do. And that team might go through a reset. Russell Wilson, gone. What's their plan? He might look around and say, well, we're not close to anything. I'm just wasting away. And y'all think, I see some of y'all in the chat think people are wasting away in Miami. What do you think people are doing in Denver? The only thing they can do right now, it ain't winning games. It's going to the local wheat shop. Just saying. And now you get a infusion of some youth too, right? So, I'm just saying. Food for thought. Should they pursue him? Yeah, they should. Now, if the price is ridiculous, obviously, no. But, I mean, dude, we're talking about a 23-year-old, 2-time Pro Bowl, 1-time All-Pro cornerback. Just saying, man. They don't come around real often. So, I'm just saying, Patrick Surtain, please. All right, I got to take you guys down memory lane here for a sec, because did we get confirmation yesterday that Fangio is returning? Despite? So, let's take you down here. This came out yesterday from Ian Rappaport. Okay, Nick Sirianni has let go defensive coordinator Sean Desai. Lost his play calling duties to Matt Patricia in such a season. It says Desai is likely to be in the mix for other DC opportunities. I don't think he will be. So, Sean Desai here, I think Fangio is going to try and lure him to Miami. Now, he almost came last year, and then he got offered this opportunity, right? Basically, what happened was, Fangio talked about it. Because of the whole tampering thing with Jonathan Gannon or whatever, that's why Fangio didn't take the defensive coordinator job, right? That's why he was asked about it, said no comment this year, et cetera, et cetera. So Sean Desai, one of his proteges, stepped in and took over. Well, now Sean Desai's out of a job. All right? And so there are people like, okay, is Fangio going to look at Philly again? Blah, 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 blah. So I went ahead and I tweeted out that I wouldn't be shocked if Fangio tries to lure Desai to Miami, that is if Fangio stays himself. An NFL insider, my friend and friend of the channel as well, who's been on here before, Ben Albright, he hit me up in the replies and said he's staying. Now, you remember Ben Albright has ties to Fangio and his staff through Fangio's time in Denver. So you can take this is almost as good as gospel. All right? I'm 90% sure he's a wild card. You never know what happens. But I've gone from 60, 70%. I'm at 90% now. This is damn near as close to confirmation as you can get. All right? Shout out to Ben Albright. Good guy, man. Good guy. Gets a bad rap, but he's always been good to me. His info, you can say what you want about him, but his info has 95% of the time it's on point. Ben Albright is one of the good ones out there. So listen, that's pretty much as good as confirmation you can get. So it looks like Fangio is going to be returning for a second season. Now, I'm going to say, you know what I'm about to say. You know what I'm about to say, right? But I think Sean Desai, I think Sean Desai, I think he's coming here, guys. I think Sean Desai is going to be coming here as an assistant. I honestly think that's what's going to happen. So, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But, and remember, Vic Fangio is the man that drafted Patrick Surtain. I'm just throwing that one out there too. Sean Desai asks Carlos, is he any good? He's highly thought of in league circles. He dropped the ball though. I think you're right, Jason Myers. He's gonna be an assistant or DB's coach. He just dropped the ball he wasn't a good play caller. The defense, right? They kind of fell apart near the end there. He might not have just been ready for that step, right? He just might not have been ready for that step for defensive coordinator. So, I think he's gonna come here, and I think the next in line is Ronaldo Hill. Like if Fangio left tomorrow, I think it's Ronaldo Hill. Yeah, Kel says look better than Matt Patricia. I agree. So, I think that's what I think. No, I think it's going to be Ronaldo Hill, bro. I think it's going to be Ronaldo. Now, maybe you could be right because him and Sean Desai are close. But I think Ronaldo Hill might be the guy that's his successor right now. Now, you've got the two successors in the building, right? So, and a good thing about a succession plan, same thing. I don't think Frank Smith is going to get a job because, the way our offense faltered there, it really impacted his chances. But the good thing about a successor, like on the offense, if it was Bevel or Welker, they know our personnel. They're comfortable with our personnel. They know what's expected of this offense and what's expected from McDaniel. Makes it easier for the transition, right? So we'll see. We'll see. So listen, yeah, Fangio, that's pretty much as good as confirmation as you can get that he will be back. So, let's take a breath, a sigh of relief here. All right. Because I know the Tua bashers, right? The Tua bashers when the offense was being historic in the first half of the season, they were all trying to crap on Fangio, right? Then the offense started to falter. They switched back to Tua and they forgot about Fangio while Fangio led quietly a top 10 defense in the NFL. People don't know ball. That's what they do. They deflect on you guys so you guys can't keep up with the narrative and who to blame. They just find some. That's how they get some of these people that listen to them. Some of these naive fans. All they do is these people want to be fed negative narratives. So you just switch from one to the other. Right? Switch to Tua when the offense is faltering. No one's going to pull your receipts except this guy for how y'all were out here calling Fangio and saying the defense sucked and he sucks. And then he goes and gets everything together and leads a top 10 defense. Stop. Right? All they do is deflect. They move off of it. So people forget. You can't pull the wool over my eyes, though. Can't hustle a hustler, baby. So let's keep it rolling here. Something interesting I want to get into here. Are the Miami Dolphins basically physical enough for the playoffs? All right. And I want to bring up this quote from this Barry Jackson article for you guys here. You guys will remember one of our unsung heroes from back in the day. He was a beast. Rob Conrad, the former fullback. He had something interesting to say, and I want to talk about it a little bit here. All right. So Rob Conrad on social media. All right. Having been a member and around the Miami Dolphins the last 24 years competing in the AFC East, we have issues being a smaller speed-based team playing important late-season games against physical opponents in inclement weather. They need to get better home field through the playoffs or bigger, physics seems to matter in inclement weather, to have an opportunity to get to the show. Hopefully 2024 will be the year. The Dolphins have never publicly discussed the need to build a roster better equipped to play rugged January football against good teams in cold weather cities. It has been a shortcoming throughout this century, but one that has not been sufficiently addressed. And you look at this, guys, and look at the trenches alone. Look at all these strong, brooding offensive lines that are left right now in Baltimore, right? With Lamar, they've always been kind of, they've drafted, they've spent assets on trying to bring in weapons for Lamar, but they've never cut quarters on the offensive line, right? Kyle Shanahan never cut corners on the offensive line. Just never did it, right? Look at what they built in Detroit. Listen, everyone knows I love Jalen Waddle more than the next guy. Everyone knows I was out ahead of that pick. But who else was I out ahead of in that draft and said should have been the pick? Should have been Penei Sewell. Should have been Penei Sewell. Ain't shit changed. It still should have been Penei Sewell. But look at, they had Eric Decker. They took Penei Sewell. Look at what the line they built in Detroit right now. And then look at the line they built in KC. KC went through it. They lost to the Bucs and Tom Brady because of all the injuries, and they had no depth on their offensive line. Guys couldn't stay healthy. It just wasn't good enough. Patrick Mahomes was running for his life in the Super Bowl. Wasn't good enough. Now what happens? Look at how many swings they've taken on that offensive line since then with Patrick Mahomes. Look at the last 4 teams remaining and start at their offensive line. And it goes back to 2019 when I was on the Tuesday night panel. Before we drafted Tua, before the draft happened in October 2019 when I entered this community, I said, and I quote, I don't care if you draft Tua, Burrow, Herbert, Jordan Love, whoever. Build me a line like they have in Indianapolis or Oakland at the time. Because that's when Oakland and Indianapolis had the best lines in the AFC next to the New England Patriots. Look at the New England Patriots, Tom Brady and Dante Scarnecchia. They kept Dante Scarnecchia, one of the best offensive line minds, happy and the highest paid coordinator for almost 20 years. So they could keep that line intact and never falter, never waver. That's why Isaiah Wynn looked like crap when he left until he came here. The problem now is Mike McDaniel, when he got here, walked into our personnel room and said, listen, we got a good enough coaching staff where you don't need to spend that kind of money. You don't need to spend those kind of draft assets. Mike McDaniel talked about this himself, that the coaching will get it out of them. And to an extent, you have been right, Mike McDaniel, 110%. No one but this guy, listen, everyone knows I hated Austin Jackson as a draft pick, but when we got Mike McDaniel, I said, watch. His traits, poor man Trent Williams. Quick feet, athletic, can get to open space, can move in open space. Poor man Trent Williams. He's nowhere near the anchor, nowhere near the blocker, but he has some of his traits, right? He's going to get something out of Austin Jackson. Lo and behold, here we are. Austin Jackson gets extended. The one that I didn't think he'd get something out of, and he did when he brought Butch Berry over, was Liam Eichenberg. I thought that was a lost cause, and even he got something out of Eichenberg. So I get it. But why are you squeezing juice out of clementines when you can go draft and you can go sign big, bulky oranges to get more juice out of and squeeze more out of them? Heading into this season, I said there were 3 areas depth-wise we could not afford to be injured in. Like to lose our starters in. The offensive line, the interior defensive line, and linebacker. Right? Edge was actually our deepest position. Everyone just got hurt. What happened? Look at our Baker goes down. Absolute disaster. Interior offensive line. Over 12 different line combinations. We're having to scheme to get the ball out in 2 seconds. We're scheming around our offensive line. This is the one position I've talked about since before we drafted Tua. This is what you had to get right. And you know why I said that back in the day? You know what I said? If Tua, Burrow, Herbert, or Love, whoever we draft doesn't work out, guess what you can do? You've got your offensive line set. Draft a new guy and throw him back there. You've got a wall in front of him. He'll be able to develop. And then what did I say? You spend money on a receiver so that receiver can help that quarterback grow. And you get a run game. That's what I said. But you take care of that offensive line first. And there's too much trying to make chicken salad out of chicken shit. There's just too much. You can do it. You can do it with one guy. But when your whole interior gets compromised from your center to your left guard to your right guard, you can't have guys you only want playing 1 or 2 games a season playing 6 to 8 game stretches. You just can't. So Greer, McDaniel, you got to figure it out. And Greer, this has been happening since before McDaniel got here. What needs to smack y'all in the face for you to realize that your depth needs to be shored the hell up? And you know what? I love Terron Armstead. We got a deal for him. But there's a reason, and I said this back then, there was a reason we got him for so much below market value than we thought we would. It was because of his injury history, and quite frankly, it's gotten worse. You got to stop getting injury-prone players because they're pennies on the dollar. Because what happens? It leads us down this path. And yeah, we're not physical enough, and it starts with the offensive line. It starts with the trenches. Look at KC. Guys, Kansas City shipped out Tyreek because they would rather shore up their offensive line. None of these teams have top 5 receivers. Amon-Ra St. Brown, what is he, the closest one? Deebo Samuel is hurt right now. I mean, you can say Deebo's top 10 when he's healthy for sure. Right? But Amon-Ra St. Brown and, Brandon Ayuk's like a top 20 guy, right? Who's the big number 1 receiver right now that's left in the playoffs? There's not Amon-Ra St. Brown and Deebo Samuel are the epitome, are the peak, and they're both top 10 guys. Devontae Adams ain't there. Obviously, Tyreek's not there. Justin Jefferson's not there. And I mean, another thing, talk about getting physical. Look at how the Lions used Gibbs in the passing game. I've been saying since we drafted him, and because I loved it before we drafted. Devin Achane has the ability to be one of the best pass-catching running backs in the NFL. Use him more, especially down these last couple weeks of the season. He was our most explosive player on offense. Tyreek Hill's out here wobbling and hobbling around because his ankle is all messed up. Still showed up for that KC game, so I got to give Tyreek his props. But he's out here hobbling around. You got your most explosive guy, and you don't game plan him. It's the same thing with the last 3 weeks of the season. Buddy, this team was screaming, feed Smythe, feed Smythe, feed Smythe. No, here and there, let's feed him. But let's not make it a point. Let's not hit defenses with what they don't expect. Why would we do that, huh? I'll never understand how a guy on YouTube understands this more than some guys who get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for this. I'll never get it. I'll never understand. It'll never sit well with me. It will never sit well with me. Drew Rosenhaus said on his weekly WSVN segment that Dolphins free agent Andrew Van Ginkel will be ready for the offseason program and, quote, he would like to come back. He's a good fit in Vic Fangio's scheme. So AVG wants to come back. AVG wants to return. Where's the money coming from? Someone tell me where the money's coming from on AVG. Because we're already paying Chubb, and we got to get the edge money ready for Phillips. Listen, I love AVG, but I don't see where the money's coming, brother. Because I've heard some wild numbers out there. Now, if those numbers I heard aren't accurate, then okay, let's talk. So, listen, I want AVG back too. I'll tell you right now, I want AVG back. Phillips and Chubb might not be back till October, November. We need him back. He's kind of got us by the shorts and curls if you really want to think about it. And Fangio loves the guy. So, John C. says Ravens versus Niners. Ravens will be favored by 3 unless injuries happen. I got KC, brother. Brother, this guy just walked into Buffalo and did what he did. He can walk into Baltimore and do it again. Mahomes is a cheat code, huh? I don't know what else to say. Mahomes is a cheat code. It's unbelievable. He's the best I've ever seen. He's the best I've ever seen. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. He's just unreal, man. He's just so unreal. Oh, I got to give him his props. I got to just be in awe of greatness. It's just what it is. I got to give him his props. He's unbelievable, man. He is unbelievable. Anyways, Dolphin Wizards is watching the Dolphins flop in the last 3 games. Changed my perspective. I don't have expectations at all. You got to have expectations every year so you set your bar. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now what my expectations are. Year hasn't even started yet. You don't win a playoff game? Oh boy, I don't care what changes come, they just better come. And I'm going to tell you, I've been warning you, it's going to get interesting. Because if we don't meet expectations this year, does McDaniel turn into McVay and Harbaugh and say, I can't win the big one? Right now, I need an upgrade at quarterback? Does he say that? If Tua again is 2-6 in big games next year, including drives where he doesn't get it done, does McDaniel say, hey, I maximized him. He was your pick. I want my guy? Does he say that? Does McDaniel go on the hot seat? Because he, again, is poor clock management, poor with in-game adjustments. I mean, you heard Omar Kelly up here, guys. Omar Kelly said it was known league-wide and in circles that McDaniel's one of the worst adjusters in the NFL. That's not good. That's not good. You better get better. Do I think this is why I asked, right? Right? This is why I asked what I asked Omar. How long until he does get impatient and pull the plug? Because what I heard, guys, you're not going to like what I'm about to tell you, but I'm going to tell you. It's on my Patreon update. I'll tell you it. All right? This is what I heard. This is what came down the pipeline to me. When we lost, Ross was still on cloud 9 from the Michigan win. Now, I heard that this did not, spiral Ross into a depression like it does to all of us. Because he had the Michigan win to lean on. Now, if Michigan would have lost and then we lost, okay, now we're talking. But it's going to go under the nose and under the radar because of this. That's the reality of it. Man, listen, I'm going to tell you. I heard that 10-year, $150 million contract is what Ross wants Michigan to pay Harbaugh, and he told them he'll back the whole bill. That's why Harbaugh coming to Miami, it's not on the table. He wants him still in Michigan, and he's willing to flip the whole bill. William Carr, if Josh Allen had Andy Reid and the best tight end of all time and not half-wit as a head coach, we'd all be saying the same thing about Josh Allen. I mean, if Tua had Andy Reid, then what? Look at what he turned Alex Smith into. Right? Andy Reid's like to me, Andy Reid is better than Bill Belichick. To me, Andy Reid is the best coach since Shula. Shula and Andy Reid are the best coaches I've ever watched. Better than Jimmy Johnson. He's the man. Andy Reid's the fucking man. Andy Reid's the man. I've loved, the reason why I used to watch Philadelphia back in the day as my second team was not only McNabb, but was Andy Reid too. And I loved, obviously, Brian Dawkins. Brian Dawkins, one of my favorite safeties of all time. But Andy Reid, I fell in love with Andy Reid when he's coaching Philly and what he did with McNabb. And Andy Reid, the word gets thrown around so much. Andy Reid is a legitimate genius at this understanding this game of football. He is. He just is. Andy Reid's a GOAT. That's all there is to it. And I will always say that about Andy Reid. To me, next to Shula, greatest coach I've ever watched. So, that's my opinion. Everyone's got their own opinion. But what he's done, come on. What didn't Donovan, they went to almost, what did they went to? I know they went to 4, right? They went to 4 NFC championships. How many of those were straight? I know a couple of them were straight. It's coming, baby. What I'm going to do tomorrow is I'm going to do my, I got a couple things tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to hand out my 2023 Phinside Awards. And Tua did not win an award, just so everyone knows. Don't be... Just letting y'all know, Tua did not win an award this year. That's number 1. Number 2, I'm also going to do, for that episode, we're going to go over, the top 10 priorities for the Miami Dolphins as they attack this offseason. We're also going to take a look at what happened to this historical offense, where to go down, et cetera, et cetera. So I got a good one for you tomorrow. Then I'm trying to get it lined up this week to do the postseason roundtable with Doug Lee, Richmond, Neal, Ball Game, with that whole crew, Kevin Dern and everyone, so we can wrap up the season. So I can do that. I think a Dolphins After Dark is probably going to come this week as well. Obviously, we'll have Fin Too Deep. Given the postseason roundtable, I'm gaming for Wednesday, so I don't know if there'll be an episode of Fin Too Deep. Sorry, there'll be an episode of Fin Too Deep. I don't know if there'll be an episode of Finish Line this week, but we'll see. So a lot of stuff coming for you. And then I'm going to start getting into... Bro, it's almost February. We got to start getting into some draft boards here, right? So, and we got to start getting into free agency. So we're going to do the free agency board, everything. I got you all. So, and as always, I'll have all 22 for the collegiate players and for my free agents, like I do every year, so you guys know what I'm talking about. I think last year and every year we do a top 25 free agent targets for the Miami Dolphins. We'll do that again. I will pick 5 positions of need. I will tell you right now, center, it might be on that depending on, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to read it to you right now. But listen, we got needs. And I sat there and I put together a list of needs for us. And oh boy, it's a lot. It is a lot. Let me see if I can find it here for you guys quickly. I mean, I just started going on a list. It was just unbelievable. So, let me see. I know I can search by. All right. So I got a center, right guard, left guard, strong safety, middle linebacker, cornerback, defensive tackle, edge, left tackle, tight end, and wide receiver. Those are our needs heading into free agency in the draft. I've talked about him here. I've talked about multiple centers on this channel, right? I've talked about Jackson Powers-Johnson, who's you're referring to. Also, Cedric Van Pran out of Georgia. You got Zach Frazier out of West Virginia. You got a couple guys, right? You got Bryce Foster out of Texas A&M too. There's a couple guys, a couple centers there. But I would definitely like Jackson Powers-Johnson or Cedric Van Pran. Either one of them, both guys, Powers-Johnson 6'3", 320. Van Pran's, 6'4", 310. You got two guys there that can play the position real well. All right. There's a couple centers, right? Even Zach Frazier is decent too, man. Don't sleep on Bryce Foster too, right? Bryce Foster out of Texas A&M, he played 4 games this year. He only allowed 6 pressures. He's just got to be coached up a little bit. Now, Jackson Powers-Johnson and Cedric Van Pran, they're day one guys. Right? Jackson Powers, he only allowed 2 pressures on 400 snaps. Van Pran had 852 snaps and only allowed 8 hurries. He's a beast. Zach Frazier out of West Virginia, he had about 883 snaps, and he allowed 12 pressures. So there are some guys. There are some guys available, right? And then there's a guy who I've been taking in my first rounds, who's a beast, and he just keeps falling to me. So I just keep, I got to keep taking him. And no, I don't want to hear any of you clowns. It is not a quarterback, just so you know. All right. But Troy Fontenot from Washington keeps falling to me. I don't know if he'll be there, but listen, there's going to be options. There's going to be options available on the interior for the Dolphins. And hey, that pick is in play. Realize that pick is in play. Listen, Fins TD says to me, let me tell you this right now. I've said it. Fins TD 23. I've said it. There are 3 players I would move up for. There are 3 players I would move up for in this draft. Brock Bowers. Everyone knows how much I love Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers is my guy. Yes, you can get Jatavion Sanders or a Ben Sinnott or Cade Stover later on in the draft. 110%. Brock Bowers, I would move up for. That's number 1. Okay. And the other 2 guys I would move up for, Olu Fashanu from Penn State and Joe Alt from Notre Dame. If I had a shot at Olu Fashanu or Joe Alt because they were dropping, or Brock Bowers because they were dropping, I would move up. But Fashanu and Alt, they're going to be, top 8 picks. Brock Bowers is probably going to be a top 12 pick. But, yeah, if I had a shot at Fashanu or Joe Alt or Brock Bowers, I would move up with that 21st pick. I would move up. And if I'm moving up for the tackles, call me crazy. If Jatavion Sanders is sitting around there on my next pick, I'm thinking about it. Because he's going to be a beast too. So there's options. Those are the 3 guys I would move up for. Joe Alt, Olu Fashanu, and, of course, Brock Bowers. Everyone knows I'm a huge Brock Bowers guy. He's just a beast. Go Dolphins forever. Love the show. Appreciate you, John C. Love you, bro. Thank you for bringing some positivity to the chat. I'm hoping, Jason. Oh, I'm hoping. Because remember, Luke Lachey went back. Right, because of the injury. And everyone knows I was a huge Luke Lachey fan. And he went back because of the injury. But Bowers, oh, man, that's a potential generational talent at tight end. And everyone knows how high I was. Everyone knows Sam Laporta was my man crush. And look at how he's balled out. Bowers is next level when he's healthy, people. If you haven't watched Brock Bowers, grab some popcorn and go watch some highlights. That guy's just unbelievable. Unbelievable. But Brock Bowers is a freaking beast. And yo, Coach AJ, I'm already on it, baby. We getting on that. Email me your PlayStation gamer tag. Phinside The NFL at gmail.com. Let's get on that when it drops. It's dropping, baby, and I'm coming for it. I'm coming for it all day. Guys, do me the favor. Smash the like button. We had over 450 of you in the chat. Smash the like button. Subscribe if you're new. Appreciate all you coming through on these for these Monday shows. I'm going to be back tomorrow. We're going to talk about what happened to this historic offense. How did it collapse? Then, on top of that, we are going to be handing out the Phinside Awards, and we are going to look at the top 10 priorities for the Miami Dolphins heading into this offseason. D. Huggis says, how do you feel about the other tight end from Iowa, Eric? You're talking about, what's his face? Eric All from Iowa. He's okay. I would have him in my... He'd probably crack my top 10 tight ends. He'd probably fit in there around 9 or 8. He's okay. I like Luke Lachey better, though. But, yeah, Eric All, he's all right. Yeah, he's all right. I have watched a ton of them because of, right? But I haven't charted him as closely as I've charted Luke Lachey. So, but he's okay. He'd probably fit in around the bottom of my 10, of my top 10. So, all right, guys, smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new. Appreciate each and every one of you. How obsessed am I with Mahomes? This is the first time I've ever actually gone on a Mahomes rant on this channel, and I am, to give you a number, right now, I am what? What episode are we on here? Someone look at we're at episode 970 something, and that's the first time I've ever gone on a Mahomes rant. Just saying. Smash the like button. Subscribe if you're new. Fins up. Appreciate all of you. And I'll see y'all on the next one tomorrow. Fins up, baby. Until Margaritaville hits us with that cease and desist.